This week's Microsoft/Xbox shut down 4 game studios this week, including Tango Gameworks, who most recently made Hi-Fi Rush, which, in my opinion, is the most underrated game of last year. That game is incredible.
True.
And Arcane Austin, who are known for making also a bunch of incredible games. Obviously, a blunder with Redfall, which was their most recent release, but they also made Prey. That game is so good. And have worked on Dishonored. Feels weird to say because it's only 2 games for whatever reason, but probably one of my favorite game franchises ever. They also shut down
it's a game like you know, the thing is, like, studios don't need to have like a plethora of games. Like, they don't need to have like a good like quantity of games, as long as you have quality. Like, literally, I would rather have a studio that would have like one solid game that thrives and everything, than having like 10, 20, 30 titles that are just like meh or half-assed. Just saying. That's just me personally. I take more pride in the game that's being made.
An extra 2 studios that I'm not as familiar with. One of them is Alpha Dog Games, the maker of mobile game Mighty Doom, and Roundhouse Studios, which is being absorbed by the Elder Scrolls Online developers ZeniMax Online Studios. Bunch of extra context here that's important before I get into the things that I feel like I want to say today. Today I wanted to go out of my way to like explain some things that I think that maybe gamers haven't realized yet, that like the industry knows, but gamers haven't realized yet. But I'll give you more context first. So the article goes on to say Microsoft currently valued at over $3 trillion. I can't even fathom that amount of money. The way that I ever try to picture amounts of money that are unfathomable.
I can see that, yeah. Because a lot of it is subscriptions, right? Yeah, a lot of it is just like mainly like subscriptions, or they have the battle passes, which people got to pay for, and then skins, pay to win skins, loot boxes, things like that. Nothing is really like an optional thing. Also, you got DLCs where it's like, hey, if you purchase this $100 DLC or this $120 DLC pack, you know, you get an extra cosmetic item, or you get an extra like character in the game that's exclusive, and then also you get like some collector stuff. Not gonna lie, I did it with Armor Core, but Armor Core is different. Armor Core is different. That's a childhood game, and they have a very good franchise. I don't care what anybody says.
Fathomable to me is like, if you pictured each of those dollars as people in a large room, how big is the room? 3 trillion? I have no concept of how big that is. That's too big. The number's too large. They did not say how many staff will lose their jobs, but significant layoffs are inevitable. IGN has asked Bethesda for comment. Microsoft declined to expand further when contacted by IGN. But yeah, obviously everybody seemingly at Arcane Austin and Tango has lost their jobs. Some of those people, I believe, were folded into other developers, and some people in the actual corporate side at Bethesda were also laid off. Of course, goes without saying, this absolutely sucks. It sucks. Yeah. This one is especially devastating to me because I kind of thought that we were through it. Felt like we hadn't had layoffs in a minute. If you haven't seen my GDC speech, I wrote this very spicy speech for this year's Game Developers Conference, basically just calling out the industry for doing this. And at GDC, I feel like things felt a little more positive. Like, it really did feel to me like...
Yeah, because before GDC, it was... I know Epic Games had their layoff. Bungie had a huge layoff. And like, everybody was freaking out. Everybody was like freaking out, or they were outraged because of the layoffs that happened. And then the reason why this affects me, no, I don't work in the game industry, but the thing that affects me is that I haven't I went to school for game art, for prop artists, for environment artists, and also I went back to school because I couldn't find a job in the art industry, the artist part of the gaming industry. So I went back in for game design, and I wanted to be a level designer and everything like that, but can't even do that because everything is just collapsing, and it's starting to suck because, like, even though people that have experience, like even the people that are very experienced, that have been in the field for so long, for many years, has many years of experience, they're getting dropped by studios, and some studios don't even hire that person. So it's like, well, if that's going to happen, then what do you think about the average person that just got out of college, that is looking forward to work in the industry? And I think that's the reason why people go towards the indie game route, where they just like work with a small company, make a game and everything like that, launch the game, hopefully make some money out of it, or just get some recognition out of it, and then try to move up in the ranks.
And people thought we were through the worst of it. So I did not expect this, and it sucks. And it sounds like from some of the reports that have come out afterwards, this might not be it. There might be more layoffs coming in 2024, which is unfathomable because we've already had so many layoffs, one of the worst years in the history of the games industry. And before you tell me it's happening to other industries as well, I know that. Whenever I talk about this, people go, this is every industry. I get that, but I talk about video games here. I work in the games industry. Like, it's like I'm not saying other industries don't also have layoffs. Like, what? Shut up. Yeah, Arcane Studios had to post it. It's super devastating for everybody. Obviously, the people affected the worst are the people who've lost their jobs. But what also gets me about this one is if you're going to shut down a studio like Tango, who just made Hi-Fi Rush, which, according to posts from leadership at Xbox,
did amazing,
was a success that reviewed very well, that's now out on multiple platforms. If these two aren't safe with a $3 trillion company backing them, nobody is safe. Nobody in the games industry is safe. No studio you love is safe.
I mean, yeah, and I think it gets to the point where, and I could be wrong, but it gets to the point to where it's like, you know, the issue with Helldivers 2, that whole situation, the whole debacle. If you guys don't know, actually it's still an ongoing issue. Because there's an update where they added 3 more countries to the restriction for, you know, purchase on Steam. So meaning those, like the 100, I think the 177 countries, now it's 180 countries, cannot purchase the game via Steam for some reason. They would have to play it on PlayStation in order to get access, and that is something that a lot of people were blind of seeing, which I'll see. I'll talk to you guys more about that after this.
Everyone is at risk of being shut down, and that should terrify you. It terrifies me, not just as somebody who works in the games industry, but as somebody who like loves a lot of these game studios. Like, this is just so fucking sad. Here's what I wanted to talk about. Why this is happening.
Like another thing is it makes me sad because what it is. Like, I was sad when two studios shut down, when DICE LA shut down, and then also when Danger Close shut down. If you guys don't know DICE LA, they were the people that made Battlefield Bad Company, Battlefield 3, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Battlefield 4, those games, right? And then Danger Close are the ones that made Medal of Honor 2010 and Medal of Honor Warfighter, which were the modern day the only 2 modern day Medal of Honor games that were ever made, because the Medal of Honor games before that were just all strictly World War II. They're the ones that are like, let's go a different route, let's try modern, because they wanted to follow in the footsteps of Call of Duty with Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and Modern Warfare 2. They wanted to follow those footsteps. And the game did actually do very well. Unfortunately, there was a controversy with Medal of Honor because of multiplayer. And the reason why is because one side you're playing coalition forces. So you're playing like, you know, UK, US, you know, NATO forces and everything. But then the enemy team, you're playing as the Taliban. Like, literally, you're a team Taliban. And you're playing at places. You're playing at Helmand Province, Kabul, all those places. So I can see the controversy there. And all they had to do was, like, they could just change the name of it. But I think it was already too late. People already started the fires. It just brew and brew and brew, and then people just stopped playing it. But yeah,
happening and why it's only going to get worse. And there's one real big point of this that I want to discuss. I guess 2. Hey, AI. Maybe even 3. Who knows? So many things to say. Mostly, wow, is this fucking depressing. So the first thing, you will occasionally see a response of, if they just make good games, this won't happen.
Yeah.
Should have just made a good game then. That's what happens when you make Redfall. Should have just made a good fucking video game if you didn't want to get shut down. The quality of the video game is irrelevant. The quality of the video game is irrelevant. The quality of the game is not relevant.
You can make
and
a
that
good
is
game.
the thing that I think like gamers, people who enjoy video games, myself as a video game consumer, should be a lot more concerned about than they are. It is time to talk about Factor, which is a meal delivery service that I've been using for...
Oh, wow, this is going on. Well, so yeah, the thing is, you can make a great game. You can make the greatest game ever. But if it doesn't sell good enough, it's like, well, congratulations. You have a portfolio. You have on your resume that you released a very good quality game. On your portfolio piece, what you have done for your, what you've done for that game, cool and everything. But then they may look up other companies when they hire you. They may look up that game and be like, game didn't do well. I remember seeing reports of it. The game really didn't do well. What happened, or something like that? Usually,
quality of the games is irrelevant. Here's something that I think perfectly paints a picture of the landscape that we're in that I have had a lot of people ask me about. This is from March 5th. I'm sourcing Gamer right here, and it says, Warner Bros. Want to focus on live service games instead of one and done titles like Hogwarts Legacy. This came right after the failure of Suicide Squad and the tremendous success of Hogwarts Legacy, and yet they are still choosing to go live service games instead of one and done titles that were very commercially successful. This is the reason quality doesn't matter, good doesn't matter. Why are they doing this? Why are they making live service games when they just had a huge flop, when Redfall just flopped? Why is there this focus on this thing that is clearly not working when you could instead make something like Hogwarts Legacy, which is a huge IP that a lot of fans enjoyed? The answer is the reality of the industry that we're in right now, and why I think things are going to get so much worse for gamers. Every single AAA game right now is a risk. Making any game that is that expensive to make is a risk. Making a Hogwarts Legacy, huge risk. The reality of going live service, which I'm sure we're going to see so much of, instead of going for more games like Hogwarts Legacy, which again, you would have considered a success, is that it is less risky for it to fail. Hey there, Gamer, Future Alana here. I feel like I could have phrased this a little more succinctly. Both sides are risks. It's just that one risk has potentially like exponential gain. You know what I mean? It's risky to make a AAA game live service or single player. Both are hugely risky. It's just that the risk has more of a chance of paying off with like an infinite amount of money if you go live service. Does that make sense? Arcane could have made Dishonored 3 and it could have gotten 10 out of 10s and players could have loved it. But if it didn't make an unfathomable amount of money, and that's the reality that we're in, it's like just profit isn't enough. It has to be year over year profit. These companies have to make more money than they did last year because of capitalism. So just being successful is not enough. So any AAA game that you make that does not have a live service component, that doesn't have built-in battle passes, doesn't have built-in microtransactions, doesn't have an option for a bunch of players who act like whales to spend a whole lot of money and continually support that ecosystem, is a huge, huge risk. And it is a better financial bet from these companies that are businesses.
And I guess it's from, I don't know, I guess it's from like, this might be going back from the years like 2011 when Battlefield 3 came out. You guys remember Battlefield 3? Amazing game. I think that game did very well. It did very, very well. It was a very big hit, especially for the console gaming community. I know there's a lot of PC players. I play PC as well, but also I play console at that time. But it was a huge success because it was they introduced jets. They put a slightly larger player base in. I know it was 32 and 32, I believe, for that game. So it was really awesome to see. And then on top of that, they had like the little no, they didn't have the battle cases until Battlefield 4. But what they had was they had Battlefield Premium. In Battlefield Premium, you paid one time. But when you paid that one time, you had it for life. I remember that you had it for life. You got like a whole bunch of dog tags. You got a whole bunch of, different camos and skins for your operator or for your character, and also for your guns. Also, you had it for vehicles as well. And then when there's a game that, when a DLC came out, you already had it for free. And then also you had priority in the line. I know it sucks when people are like, well, what the heck? You got priority. We didn't even know that at the time either. We just noticed like it said like the line was queued to get into a game, and once you got into that queue, sometimes you'd be like number 10 out of 32, and then somehow you jump to number 2, and you're like, what the hell? What just happened? And apparently you jumped the line. That's how I found out about that. We had priority, which I thought was very interesting, but. that game, I thought it did very well, right? Hold on, let me see. I actually want to look this up real quick. I want to see, like, IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. Metacritic gave it an 89. PC Gamer gave it an 80. Is Battlefield 3 a good game? 90% of PC, a solid shooter game. Had many variety and good enough story. The atmosphere was really good. Yeah, even though this had a campaign, and not many people enjoyed the campaign of it because of the because it was too close to Black Ops 1 from Call of Duty, where it was like, you're being interrogated, and then like the person that is being interrogated brings up a story, and then you play that story pretty much. But some of the stuff was actually really good. If you guys have not played the game, it's amazing. I also have a little playlist for Battlefield 3. If you guys want to check that out, you guys totally can. I will say this game, to me personally, I think it was very successful because it was everything of it, like of that game, was ahead of its time. Was Battlefield 3 successful? I'm very curious. On 29th of June 2012, EA revealed that the game has sold 15 million copies. In Japan, Battlefield 3 sold around 123,379 copies for the PlayStation 3, and then 27,723 copies for the Xbox 360 when it released. In the first week, the game had sold 18,792 copies for the PS3 for a total of 142,171 copies. It sounds like it was good, right? That's what it sounds like. Over 5 million copies were sold in the first week, which makes it the fastest selling game in the EA's history. Sounds very very successful to me. But yeah, it's crazy. Did it win Game of the Year? I don't think it did. It? Hold on.
So the only award of the night voted for by the public. The public voted for Battlefield 3. It is the winner of the Audience Award. How does that feel?
Turns out the public know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and the thing is, the reason why I say like it's very good because Battlefield 3 reminds me of Halo Combat Evolved, and the reason why I say that is because Halo Combat Evolved had what do you call it? Halo Combat Evolved had Red versus Blue. Rooster Teeth made a series called Red versus Blue, and it's still going on to this day. When Battlefield 3 came out, they Machinima made something called Battlefield Friends, and it's actually pretty funny. Like, if you guys have not seen Battlefield Friends, it is the funniest thing ever. It's an animated series started in 2012, basically Battlefield 3, and they have everybody. Like, they had everybody. That was funny. So they had the sniper, the engineer, the noob, medic, and if you guys don't know who he is, who is noob, right? He's Neebs. If you guys don't know, he's actually Neebs. If you guys know Neebs Gaming from on Twitch and stuff like that, that is him. Is he alive? No, he ain't alive. But anyway, yeah, this is Neebs Gaming. He's the one that plays Noob, and it's hilarious. If you guys haven't seen the video, haven't seen it, this is Noob. If you guys haven't seen it, it is the funniest thing ever. I'll play a little bit of it. But Machinima made a great, this was actually a very great series.
All right, buckle up, guys. I've never done this before.
Whoa. What are you doing, dude?
First time flying?
Flying, yes.
Flying.
Shit.
I'm flying.
And they do little skits.
No, why are you flying?
I'm flying.
You're not alone here, you know that.
Yeah, I can fly really good.
Yeah,
I got a high level in helicopter.
Yeah, I'm sure you are, but I have to learn this. So.
The fact that we've just been spinning for the last 30 seconds isn't
Oh, do you have
much.
to be somewhere?
Well, maybe.
Yeah. But it's a war.
If we lose this one, there will be another one. I have to learn to fly a helicopter.
But yes, if you guys want to look more into it, just you guys can look up Battlefield Friends on YouTube, and they're under I believe under Machinima. So yes, I think that makes the game very, very successful. So, and like I said, that wasn't really a live service game. I don't believe. Let me see here. Hold on. I know Battlefield 2042 was, but was Battlefield 3 a... Wow, there's still 60 servers. There are like 300 and many players are playing it still. This is on Steam. This is on Steam. I wonder if I boot up the 360, let's see if people are actually still playing it, like on the 360 side. But yeah, peak players, yeah, that's fine. For a game that is almost 12 years old, no, that is 12 years old. Game that is 12 years old and people are still playing it, that is amazing. Can you still play it? Fuck yeah, people are still playing it. Will it get remastered? Oh, dude, everybody wants this to be remastered. Sorry, but anyway, I don't think that one's a live service game because. Oh yeah, I'm not sure. Fuck. Hold on. Game designed to be ongoing in that though its story has if it has one has it come to an end you can keep playing and are inspired to do so with regular content drops. Expand the story and offer new gameplay experiences. I guess it was a live service game. Yeah, I guess Battlefield 3 was a live service game. I didn't think it was. But then to think about it, yeah, they did like every a certain amount of months they dropped in new content, which was the DLC, and then you got like some new guns, some camo challenges that you can do to get a new camo, and then also like operator camos and stuff like that as well. So
and see themselves as businesses at this point. They don't see themselves as creative outlets. They don't see themselves as art. The dev teams do. The publishers don't. You can have a studio make a really good game that is a one and done title like a Hogwarts Legacy that people really, really like, but it's still a random risk of if it will take off or if people will play it or if enough people will spend money on it. So it is a safer bet from a business standpoint to attempt a live service game, which may be cheaper in some ways, might not be in other ways, and to potentially have it blow up and get huge and make a bunch of money from a recurring and dedicated player base than it is to take the AAA single player risk. There's no amount of quality guarantees income to the level of income that they have come to expect. The live service game could fail, but it failing is still a better risk to take than making a AAA single player one and done experience at this point. The quality of the games doesn't matter. Anyone can get laid off and shut down.
Yep.
Except for a studio that's making a live service game that is continuously getting profit. Now, we're also in a unique landscape right now that I think has just caught up to these executives.
Which is weird.
Touched on this on a stream the other night, but what you're currently in is a time war. This is a very new thing. I think COVID really kicked this into overdrive. This isn't a games industry thing anymore. This is a entertainment in general thing where they are all warring for your time. Your Xbox is also competing against your Netflix, is competing against your Twitter, is competing against your Instagram for the most amount of time they can get from you. And every single one of these entertainment services is designed to get as much time from you as possible to prevent you from clicking away, to make sure that once you engage, you stay engaged. And
I bet you Microsoft or PlayStation might do this. Mark my words. Remember this video, okay? Remember this video. I bet you, since YouTube... Let's see, YouTube has YouTube Shorts. TikTok has, obviously TikTok is TikTok. And then you have Instagram Reels. I bet you the gaming industry now, like Microsoft and PlayStation, I don't know if Nintendo's going to do it. They might. But I feel like they're going to incorporate something like that where they have like shorts. And it's basically your clips that you make from... Oh, I don't know about PlayStation. I don't know if PlayStation, if you do make clips. I don't know if you guys do. But I know that in Xbox you can make clips and stuff. But I bet you make clips and then automatically there's going to be a way where it's like, it's going to be on your dashboard. And like you'll see like if you're on Xbox Live and stuff like that and you go over to like community, you'll see like clips and you can just like scroll through them. I feel like that's going to be another thing. They're a little behind, but I feel like that's going to be like, oh, this is the next thing for gaming. I bet that's probably going to happen. So remember that.
And that is very difficult for a game that ends in 20 hours. It is really hard for them to keep you coming back to that same service repeatedly, day after day, when you have spare time. They want you to be opening up your Xbox and looking at the Microsoft Store, seeing things advertised to you, or potentially spending money on microtransactions instead of spending time on Instagram or TikTok. You are in an enormous time war where the most valuable currency that you as a consumer have is your time.
Yep.
And you are competing against multi-trillion-dollar corporations. What does it mean? For your time. They are doing everything they can, throwing every resource at you that they can to consume every second that you have. It sucks. Like, I don't think this is fixable. I think that this is and yeah, the appeal of live service spans a lot of facets of the games industry, but it's really that it can steal all of your time all the time.
Okay, so here's my question. I didn't mean to puzzle it like that, but this is my question. Wouldn't you, if it's about time and everything, wouldn't you make a game where it's like, okay, so like wouldn't the studios or the companies focus on player retention for the game then? Like, wouldn't that be what they would be like really focusing on? Because like, for example, playing Armored Core, I would say like Elden Ring and stuff like that, but I haven't played it. I should be playing it, but I haven't played it. Armored Core, once you finish Armored Core, like, okay, you're done, right? But if you run through the game again, like if you beat it the first time and you go through it the second time, then you actually have options. When you go through the game, it's like, oh, instead of like attacking this enemy, now they give you the options to like betray your teammates. And if you do that, then you unlock a different part of a level. And then also unlocking a different part of the level, you can possibly unlock like new weapons or like some new upgrade ability and stuff like that. And also you can keep climbing the 1v1 ranks that they have for you to like unlock upgrades like a shield on your armor core, or like dashing and stuff like that, like different abilities and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. So I think if they do that could be a possibility, like to help with the time. I like I said, I'm not a big corporate person in gaming, but I feel like that would be something that would help. It's like once you finish the game, like have them go through it again, but like alter some things, make a player think, you know, yeah, they already went through the game like the first time, but then when they play it again, they're like, wait a minute, was this in the beginning? Like, was this during my first playthrough? And then they will make them like, you know, like they'll pay more attention to it. That's what I personally think. But everybody's attention spans are different, and people have different tastes in games. So it's just a thought.
Can compete with a TikTok. They can do something to get you to spend all of your time on it and thus potentially increase the amount of times you will spend money on that thing. Making a good game is irrelevant. Making a great story that you can play for 15 hours is irrelevant. They want as much of your time as possible. Think about what you do with your time. So a couple of other facets of this that I want to touch on. And this is a very doom and gloom video. I know it is. I'm just really sad. Like, I feel like I'm watching an industry that I love die. Single player games are not dying. Like, it's not happening 100% across the board. There's still a lot of value for those for certain companies. So. Like, that's not,
games
not all
are
of them are going
up
to die. And that's a thing everyone's been saying for a long time. But obviously there is an overwhelming shift in that direction. Okay. So like, I'm not saying they're all gone. It's just a WB, a third-party publisher especially, you're probably going to see more of them make the changes that they've just said that they're going to make. That's it. Because it's less financially risky. So the second part, I see a lot of people say, time for indies to rise up. The indie space has got it. Indies are going to kill it. Let's keep playing indies. They're the creative ones anyway. I have terrible news for you, my friend. Things are just as bad in the indie space. Indie studios shut down all the time. You just don't hear about them because you haven't heard of them. It makes news headlines when Arcane shuts down. It doesn't make news headlines when the indie studio you haven't heard of shuts down. Facet of the industry is no less volatile than AAA is right now.
True.
They're in the same place. In fact,
it's even worse because there's times, she might be saying this, but there's times where you could be making a game, like just everything's fine and dandy. You join the company, you guys are working on a game, you're so excited, everybody's passionate about it, they're like just working and working, but then the company runs out of funds and then files bankruptcy and has to shut down. And then you're just like, what the hell? Like, we're almost done with this game, and like you just don't like. And the thing is because the owner just cannot pay, just cannot keep up with the pay and stuff like that. You know, I think that's what it possibly is. But with the games, I think a lot of people are going for like indie games more is because of just how the quality of AAA games have been for like the past 5 years, minus a few games like Elden Ring, and like the Souls games, like those games, it's single player, and it's like, yeah, it's extremely difficult. It gives a challenge, but then also it's very rewarding as well. Like those games are doing very well, but I mean, as a multiplayer game, a AAA multiplayer game that's actually doing well, they're not, like, you don't really hear much about it. People would say Call of Duty, but the thing is, everybody lives up to the hype of Call of Duty for like the first 6 months, and then it dies down. And then it's like whoever's like the hardcore players, the hardcore gamers, that are diehard Call of Duty fans, they're the ones that stay around. Sometimes some of them leave too because they're like, just the way how the live services are for the game, where like things aren't addressed, where like they speak out about it and things aren't addressed. So I guess the only thing I would say, like, would it be considered a AAA? I would say Helldivers 2, because it is a, I mean, they got published by PlayStation, who is going rogue right now, like ruining the game. But then I don't know. I don't know if Arrowhead is considered a AAA, or are they an indie, or are they a AA? I don't know.
It's really hard for indies to get publishers right now. It's very difficult for indie games to get funded right now. The indie space being some haven where this is not happening and they can be creatively expressive. Not true, unfortunately. A lot of indies are falling right now as well, and are going to continue to fall right now as well. There are some AAA game devs who've like been talking about leaving AAA and going to indie to save this, and every time that I see that, I'm like, dude, please talk to people who actually work in the indie space before you like jump ship and leave AAA to go straight to indie. Because while they will fight harder to keep everybody, like indies have a lot less people, so the individual people are more valuable, paid less, but more valuable usually. They're less likely to lay people off because they're more likely to shutter the whole project. Indie is no more safe. Indie is absolutely no more safe right now. The third point is to the response of, what about Baldur's Gate 3? People will say, what about a Baldur's Gate 3? Or what about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? These are certainly still games that are going to come out and will still exist. And studios that have huge legacies, a FromSoft can get away with this, a Larian can get away with this, a Nintendo can get away with this. They have huge legacies, big IP, and very focused leadership that is almost fighting against the climate. Those games are still going to exist, but they are exceptions. And so what I'm saying is the only way to get a Baldur's Gate 3 or an Elden Ring is to be a studio with a huge legacy, with a very experienced, knowledgeable team, and usually an IP, usually. Because for vast majority of studios who tried to do what Alarian did with Baldur's Gate 3, it's going to shut at the studio. It's not going to work. That risk is too high. They are going to fail, and they are going to shut down. And Sven, the head of Larian, has said so many wonderful things. His GDC acceptance speeches, his Game Awards acceptance speeches, where he's just calling out the industry for being greedy and for not having to do what they're doing. He's 100% right. Like, the industry is choosing to shut these studios down. They're lying to you when they're saying it's a necessity. It's a choice. It's a choice because the profits are not high enough. The area where it is a necessity is that they just answer to the stock market. It's not like it's a group of people in a room sitting there and being individually evil and saying, let's fucking tank the whole games industry, live service, let's get as much money as possible. Like, it'd be way easier if that was true. But really, it's just a bunch of people whose jobs it is to appeal to shareholders, to appeal to the stock market, just doing that because their whole job is to make sure Arrow go up. I'm like...
because it's like, I think that's what's the situation going on with Arrowhead Games and PlayStation when it comes to the situation with Helldivers 2 and Steam. And now it's going to be Ghost of Tsushima, if you guys haven't heard about that. But those 180 countries that I mentioned earlier that are restricted for Helldivers 2 are now restricted for Ghost of Tsushima. Pirate Software, he has posted on Twitter, and also I posted as well. And it is insane to see, like, and I think this what it is they're trying to get more people into PlayStation and have their members, like their active users for PlayStation go up, so it can impress the shareholders, and then they keep bringing more money in. Because if you're a shareholder and you see that your if your company that you obviously invested in is not doing well, you're like, where's the money go? Like what's up with the money? Where's the money? Where's my money? Type of stuff. And it kind of puts them into panic. That's what I'm guessing. I could be wrong.
Even if one of those executives were to look at a Baldur's Gate 3 and be like, that did really well. Let's try and do that. The next executive next to them would slap them because any live service game that is successful is infinitely more successful. It's so much more successful than a Baldur's Gate 3. It makes so much more money that why would you make even the single player experience that was expensive when you could make the live service game that's expensive that has more potential gain, right? I'm sorry about this video. So what do you do? What do you do? The only thing I think you can do is buy games you like. Think about what you put your time towards. and buy games you like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of positive shit to say for you. It's bad. The things don't make enough money and the risks are too big. That's my nice uplifting video for today, you guys. Hope you all feel great. I'm just really sad.
Yeah.
If you're gonna fucking shut down Tango, Hi-Fi Rush was so good, and it just, what's the point?
And here's the thing: buy tangibles. This is the last thing I will say. Last thing I will ever say: buy tangible games. But purchase those tangibles. You know how like people buy digital games? I know people love digital games and stuff. But there's gonna be I have a gut feeling of this, that if you purchase digital games, like a whole bunch of digital games, and for some reason Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, if they're like, hey, we are done with cloud services, I'm not saying that they would, or not saying like it will happen, but it's a possibility. If they're like, we're done with cloud service games and stuff like that, and they just get rid of it, they get rid of like the digital store and everything. Like, how do you play the digital content? You know, how do you play the game? That's why I have tangibles. That's why I have physical copies. Especially the games I like, the games I really love and I really like. I have physical copies of the game. Like Starfield, I have the copy of the game. Armored Core, I know I said it like multiple times. I have a copy of the game. Ace Combat came out. I have copies. I have that copy of the game. I have to have physical copies of the game because I feel like there's going to be a point to where you're not going to be able to play it. You're not going to be able to access the game. We're already in like, you know, digital is trying to take over physical games. But then also there's a chance where they may go further than that. And I feel like that's what they're going to do. This is what I fear that they're going to do. They're going to go like, hey, now you have to be like required for you to play a game that you bought, downloaded, and installed in your machine, computer, or PC, or on Xbox, or PlayStation, or Nintendo. You have to be online. You have to pay for, like, you have to be live. You have to pay the memberships or whatever to be online. I feel like that's what's going to happen, and that's what I fear the most, because then there's going to be a lot of people that have a whole bunch of games that they've saved they put so much time in unlocking all achievements, Easter eggs. I mean, even doing YouTube videos and doing like streamings and stuff like that of these things, and then what's going to happen? It just gets taken away. So, yes, gaming is getting worse and worse and worse, and we're actually going to get further. We're going to go more into this because there are a few games that I do want to talk about, but we'll do that for another video, all right? I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and it's Alpha Chino, all right? Peace. Oh, by the way, if you guys do want to see this video, I will have it linked, obviously. This is an amazing video, so I got to go ahead and obviously put her in this, put her video in here, obviously, because you got to do that. Got to give them the credit. This is something I will share to all my friends, especially my colleagues. Oh my God, it's crazy.